Count 9, criminal use of personal identification information. Count 10, probation violation, felony.
Things just went from bad to worse for Sean Kingston and his mom. After being hit with a stack of serious charges, word just broke that something unthinkable happened while they were in custody. Apparently, they got attacked. Now people are asking, how did it get this bad? What really happened behind those jail walls? Let's break it down. The prison drama. The whole mess popped off in March 2025 when a federal jury in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, convicted Sean Kingston and his mother, Janice Turner, of wire fraud following a 5-day trial. They got bagged for running a slick hustle between April 2023 and March 2024, finessing luxury vendors out of more than $1 million in goods and services. The duo was leveraging Kingston's clout to sweet-talk sellers into shipping high-end merch before getting paid, then hitting them with fake wire transfer receipts to complete the jux. Their scam game was next level, no cap. Court docs revealed they managed to score expensive jewelry worth $480,000, a bulletproof Cadillac Escalade valued at approximately $160,000, luxury beds, and even a massive 232-inch LED TV, all without dropping a real bag. Their method was calculated and repeated across multiple victims, with Turner often handling the logistics while Kingston used his fame to gain trust. After just 3.5 hours of deliberation, the jury delivered guilty verdicts on 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud. The judge wasn't playing games either. Kingston got put on house arrest with an ankle monitor, while his 62-year-old mother got remanded straight to federal custody. The judge specifically called out Turner as the operator, fixer, and accountant behind the fraud, and referenced her prior criminal history as reasons for denying bail. The way they got snatched up was straight out of a movie too. In May 2024, Turner was taken into custody during a SWAT raid at Kingston's South Florida mansion, while Kingston himself was arrested in California after a performance at Fort Irwin. He got booked into San Bernardino County Jail before being shipped back to Broward County, Florida. The charges from the Broward County Sheriff's Office were mad lengthy, including grand theft of property valued at approximately $86,000, a luxury car worth $159,000, jewelry worth $480,000, alongside identity fraud and writing bad checks. When Kingston got booked into Broward, the judge read out his whole rap sheet.
Sir, I have your attorneys, Mr. Rosenblatt, Ms. Brzezanek, on Zoom today. You are charged pursuant to a warrant as follows. Count 1, organized scheme to defraud over $50,000. Count 2, criminal use of personal identification information. Count 3, grand theft, greater than $20,000, less than $100,000. Count 4, fraud, insufficient funds check, greater than $150. Count 5, grand theft, greater than $100,000. Count 6, criminal use of personal identification information. Count 7, criminal use of personal identification information. Count 8, grand theft, greater than $100,000. Count 9, criminal use of personal identification information.
And on the real, the 10th count showed this wasn't Kingston's first rodeo with the system.
Count 10, probation violation, felony.
What makes this whole situation wilder is that both Kingston and his mom's been in the system before, showing they've been on this type of timing for a minute. Janice Turner previously pleaded guilty to bank fraud in 2006, stealing over $160,000 through fraudulent loan applications. She did about 16 months in the feds for that one, getting released in March 2007. The recidivism is mad crazy. Less than 2 decades after her first bid, Turner caught an even more serious case. As for Kingston, court records showed he was already on 2 years probation for trafficking stolen property, with the probation imposed in October 2023 and scheduled to end on October 1st, 2025. The specifics on that trafficking conviction ain't fully documented in public records, but it's clear Kingston was already on paper when he and his moms ran this latest scam. Beyond the criminal stuff, Kingston been getting sued left and right too. Between 2015 and 2022, he accumulated judgments totaling over $1 million for failing to pay for luxury watches and jewelry. These civil cases, while not criminal, show a pattern of financial foolishness and unpaid debts that eventually leveled up to straight criminal activity. The stakes couldn't be higher for the mother-son duo as they wait on sentencing scheduled for July 11th, 2025. Each count of wire fraud carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in federal prison. With multiple counts against both of them, they could be looking at decades on lock. A crazy fall from grace for a singer who once had the charts on Smash with hits like Beautiful Girls and Fire Burning. This whole legal saga represents years of financial messiness and questionable decisions. Turner's role in the recent scheme, managing logistics and communications, mirrors how she moved in past scams, suggesting they've been perfecting these tactics for years. Meanwhile, Kingston's celebrity status was the perfect cover to gain trust from vendors and secure luxury goods without dropping real bread. As July approaches, this case is a straight-up cautionary tale about the consequences of running game, even for those who once had fame and success. The music industry industry and legal observers are watching closely to see how much time the judge is going to hit this mother-son team with now that their criminal enterprise finally caught up to them. Kingston's rocky road from fame to shame. To really understand Sean Kingston's fall from grace, we gotta look at his whole come-up story, from international stardom to facing serious federal charges. His career shows how hard it is to stay winning in the music game and the type of questionable moves that follow when that success starts to dry up. Born Kishian Paul Anderson on February 3, 1990, in Miami, Florida, and partly raised in Jamaica, Kingston's rise was stupid fast. His musical journey really popped off when he was discovered on YouTube by Matt Tobin at Beluga Heights Records, leading to a signing in 2007 with a joint venture involving Coke and Epic Records. At just 17, he dropped his breakout hit, Beautiful Girls, which sampled Ben E. King's classic Stand By Me. The track went crazy, topping the Billboard Hot 100 and charting at #1 worldwide, including Australia, Canada, Spain, and the UK, where it spent 4 weeks at the top spot. Kingston's self-titled debut album, released on July 31st, 2007, came in hot at #6 on the Billboard 200 and eventually went gold after pushing over 500,000 units. This early W established him as a young star with mad potential. Follow-up singles from the album, including Me Love and Take You There, also did numbers on the charts, cementing his position in the industry and building a solid foundation for what looked like a long and successful career. His sophomore album, Tomorrow, dropped in September 2009 and didn't quite hit like his debut, though it did give us the banger Fire Burning. By the time his third major album, Back to Life, released in 2013 with the moderate hit Beat It, featuring Chris Brown and Wiz Khalifa, Kingston's commercial appeal had fallen off significantly. This album couldn't even chart on the Billboard 200, marking a serious decline from his earlier wins, and, tellingly, it would be his last drop on a major label. So what made his promising career derail? It's not just one thing, but a mix of personal drama, legal issues, and changing industry vibes that gradually killed both his commercial appeal and public image. One of the first major incidents went down in May 2011, when Kingston nearly lost his life in a jet ski accident in Miami, resulting in serious injuries. He was hospitalized in critical condition after crashing into a bridge, and recovery took a minute. Reports say he caught a $180 fine for careless operation, with authorities determining the accident was on him. While this incident got mad media attention and public sympathy, it didn't seem to directly impact his career much, though it did keep him out of the spotlight during recovery. What really damaged Kingston's rep were some serious allegations that surfaced in 2010. Carissa Capilotto accused Kingston, his bodyguard, and a band member of gang raping her in a Seattle hotel room after a Justin Bieber concert. The criminal charges eventually got dropped due to inconsistencies in Capilotto's statements, with Kingston maintaining throughout that the encounter was consensual. In 2013, the situation came back around when Capilotto filed a civil lawsuit seeking $5 million in damages. Kingston eventually settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. According to reports, the settlement was a fraction of the demanded sum, made primarily to avoid trial distractions during his tour and album release. Despite Kingston always denying any wrongdoing, this situation damaged his public image heavy, with reports suggesting some shows got canceled due to protests over the allegations. As recently as 2023, student advocacy groups at the University of Denver successfully campaigned for Kingston's removal from a Music Fest lineup based on these past allegations, showing how they're still affecting his career opportunities. Kingston addressed these allegations during a notable interview on The Breakfast Club, defending himself and explaining how the accusations affected him.
And so I know I was innocent, and you know what I'm saying, but it was just I had to get that across to my fans, so I was really hurt by that, but there was no criminal record, so it's like, what did I do? If I really raped somebody, I'd be behind bars, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So really, this girl wanted money, and it was a sad, but it happens to the best of us.
The aftermath of these accusations apparently changed how Kingston operated, particularly regarding his interactions with women, as he explained later in the same interview.
You learn lessons now.
So she got some
As
money.
soon as you come and you hanging out with me, you got to sign a waiver.
There you go.
You sign
Wow,
a waiver.
really?
Like,
But the controversies didn't end there. Over the years, Kingston has faced numerous legal issues related to unpaid debts and financial disputes. Between 2015 and 2022, he accumulated civil judgments totaling over $1 million for failing to pay for luxury watches and jewelry, establishing a pattern of financial irresponsibility that would eventually escalate to criminal charges. In February 2024, just months before his arrest on fraud charges, Kingston was sued by Verveer Entertainment for not paying for luxury watches. The lawsuit claimed he falsely stated he had an ongoing working relationship with Justin Bieber Bieber for promotional videos, despite having no collaboration with Bieber since their 2010 track Eeny Meeny. This lawsuit became part of the broader fraud allegations that would soon lead to his criminal charges. The cumulative effect of these controversies has undoubtedly contributed to Kingston's career decline. The rape allegations, which surfaced around the same time as the release of his album Back to Life in 2013, coincided with his commercial decline. That album failed to chart, suggesting the accusations may have impacted his marketability and public perception. Online discussions on platforms like Reddit have highlighted the impact of these controversies, noting canceled shows and diminished opportunities. Beyond the controversies and legal issues, industry dynamics also played a significant role in Kingston's career trajectory. As music industry observers have noted, the pop music landscape requires constant hits to maintain relevance, and Kingston's lack of significant releases post-2013, combined with his accumulating legal troubles, likely sealed his decline. The rapid evolution of musical tastes and the emergence of new artists and styles may have further contributed to Kingston's fading presence in the mainstream music scene. Family dynamics have also played a complex role in Kingston's career. His mother, Janice Turner, has been deeply involved in his professional life, serving as his momager, mother manager, as Kingston himself confirmed in his Breakfast Club interview.
My mom she helps my manager Jim McDaniels out.
She's the momager?
Yeah, she's a momager. She's the #1 woman in my life. I'm close to my mom more than anything. So
during that same interview, Kingston acknowledged his mother's previous legal troubles, revealing that she had served prison time years before.
Okay,
Mom was in jail.
what?
This long time ago.
5 years.
When he first came out.
5 years.
5 years.
No, it is. It's crazy, but she came home to. He definitely like.
This revelation takes on new significance in light of their recent convictions, suggesting a pattern of legal troubles that may have influenced Kingston's own approach to financial matters. The close professional and personal relationship between mother and son appears to have extended to their criminal activities as well, with Turner playing a significant role in the fraud scheme that led to their convictions. Kingston's difficult upbringing and family circumstances may have contributed to his later legal troubles. In the Breakfast Club interview, he described a challenging childhood marked by instability. The fraud conviction that now hangs over both Kingston and his mother represents the most serious legal challenge yet. Far beyond civil judgments for unpaid debts, these are federal criminal charges that carry potential decades-long prison sentences. The conviction has immediately impacted Kingston's career, with reports indicating that he has been unable to produce income since being placed on home detention, as most of his job offers involve appearing at concerts outside his district, which he cannot attend under current conditions. Looking at this entire trajectory from chart-topping teenage success to fraud conviction at age 35, it's a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in the entertainment industry, especially when poor financial management, legal issues, and personal controversies enter the picture. Kingston's story underscores the challenges of maintaining long-term success in music and the potentially devastating consequences when illegal shortcuts are taken to maintain a luxury lifestyle after commercial relevance has faded. Difficult times ahead. With a federal fraud conviction on his record and sentencing just around the corner, what does the future hold for Sean Kingston? His current legal predicament raises profound questions about his career prospects, financial situation, and even his freedom in the coming years. Let's examine where things stand now and what possibilities might lie ahead for the once celebrated singer. As of today, May 8th, 2025, Sean Kingston finds himself in an extremely precarious position, both legally and professionally. He's currently under house arrest with electronic monitoring, having posted a $500,000 home bond plus $200,000 in cash, awaiting his sentencing scheduled for July 11, 2025. His mother, Janice Turner, remains in federal custody after the judge cited her criminal history and described her as the operator, fixer, and accountant behind their fraud scheme. The legal consequences Kingston faces are severe by any standard, with convictions on 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud, and each count carrying a maximum sentence of 20 years in federal prison. He could potentially be looking at decades behind bars. Even if the sentences run concurrently rather than consecutively, he's almost certainly facing substantial prison time given the nature and scale of the fraud, over $1 million in stolen goods, with multiple victims across different incidents. His house arrest status has effectively paused his music career. As of now, there are no upcoming tour dates listed for Kingston on Songkick, a platform that tracks concert information. This absence of tour dates directly reflects his legal restrictions, as performing would require court approval, which has been difficult to obtain remain given the conditions of his house arrest. Similarly, there are no confirmed new music releases by Kingston in 2025. His last major album, Back to Life, was released back in 2013, meaning it's been over a decade since he's had a significant commercial release. While in a 2022 interview, he mentioned an anticipated album titled Deliverance. This project has yet to materialize, likely due to his mounting legal issues. What's particularly interesting about Kingston's situation is that while he reportedly still maintains 18 million monthly listeners on Spotify, primarily for his nostalgic hits, his ability to capitalize on this audience has been severely hampered by his legal troubles. This high listener count indicates there remains some level of interest in his music, particularly his early hits, but converting that into new career opportunities will be extremely challenging given his current circumstances. Kingston's financial situation also appears dire. Reports indicate his net worth has dwindled to around $400,000 in 2024, a significant drop from earlier in his career, partly due to financial mismanagement and legal battles. The conviction for fraud involving high-end goods and fraudulent documents has likely further damaged his reputation, making it challenging to secure future deals or collaborations. Past allegations, such as a 2023 dispute over a private jet purchase where he was accused of scamming a broker, further paint a picture of financial instability, which may deter industry partners from working with him in the future. In the short term, Kingston has sought to maintain some semblance of a career by requesting court permission to perform at Summerfest in Milwaukee on June 20th, 2025, before his sentencing. His lawyer described the event as a legitimate opportunity to recover financially, emphasizing it as a concert or festival setting rather than a club appearance. The motion filed by Kingston's attorney stated that he has been unable to produce income since being placed on home detention, as most job offers involve appearing at events outside of this district, highlighting the severe economic impact of his legal restrictions. However, given his house arrest status and the proximity to his sentencing date, it's uncertain whether this request will be granted. The court must weigh Kingston's economic needs against the potential flight risk and other factors when considering such requests. The long-term outlook for Kingston's career depends heavily on the outcome of his July 11th sentencing. If he receives a lighter sentence, such as probation or a short prison term, he may have a chance to resume his career, potentially leveraging his past hits and still considerable online listenership. However, a lengthy prison sentence, which seems more likely given the severity of the charges and his prior probation violation, would obviously delay any potential comeback for years. Even beyond the immediate legal consequences, Kingston faces significant challenges in rebuilding his reputation. The fraud conviction, combined with past controversies and allegations, has created a complex web of negative associations that could make industry partners hesitant to work with him. Record labels, concert promoters, and potential collaborators may view him as a risky investment, both financially and in terms of public relations. To put Kingston's situation in context, we can look at other artists who have faced legal troubles and their subsequent career trajectories. Some artists, like Lil Wayne, have managed to maintain successful careers despite serving prison time. Others, like R. Kelly, have seen their careers effectively ended by legal issues and public backlash. Kingston's case is somewhat different in that it involves fraud rather than violent or sexual offenses, which may affect public perception differently. One factor that could work in Kingston's favor is that his early hits like Beautiful Girls have achieved a kind of classic status within their genre, giving him a foundation of nostalgia to potentially build upon. His history of touring, including overseas tours nearly every year from 2007 to 2019, except during the pandemic, suggests resilience and an international fan base that might still support him after serving his sentence, whatever that may be. However, the music industry has changed dramatically since Kingston's heyday. The rise of streaming, social media, and a more competitive landscape means that making a comeback after years away, especially with the added stigma of a criminal conviction, would be extremely challenging. The financial constraints resulting from legal fees, potential restitution, and limited earning opportunities while under house arrest or incarcerated would further complicate any comeback attempts. If Kingston does receive a prison sentence, there are several factors that could influence his eventual return to music. His behavior while incarcerated, his willingness to accept responsibility for his actions, and his plan for making financial amends to his victims could all play roles in how the public and industry receive him upon release. Successfully completing a prison term and any subsequent probation would at least demonstrate a level of rehabilitation that might help in rebuilding trust. It's worth noting that age is still somewhat on Kingston's side. At 35, he's young enough that even after serving a multi-year sentence, he could potentially have decades of career opportunities ahead of him. However, the music industry, particularly in pop and hip-hop genres, tends to favor younger artists, making a comeback more challenging with each passing year. Kingston's relationship with his mother, Janice Turner, adds another layer of complexity to his future prospects. Given her more extensive criminal history and the judge's characterization of her as the driving force behind their fraud scheme, she likely faces an even and longer sentence than her son. This separation could actually benefit Kingston professionally, as distancing himself from the negative influence that seemingly contributed to his legal troubles might help him rebuild his image. In the intervening months before sentencing, Kingston's legal team will almost certainly be working on strategies to mitigate his potential prison time. This could include demonstrating remorse, offering restitution to victims, and highlighting his contributions to music and charity work. However, given the federal nature of the charges and the substantial evidence that led to his conviction, significant prison time seems likely. For fans of Kingston's music, this situation represents a disappointing chapter in what started as an inspiring success story. The teenager who rose from humble beginnings to international stardom now faces the prospect of spending some of his prime years behind bars. His journey serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of financial impropriety and the potentially devastating consequences of criminal behavior, even for those who once enjoyed fame and fortune. As the July 11th sentencing date approaches, the music industry and legal observers will be watching closely to see how severe the penalties will be for Kingston and his mother. Whatever the outcome, it's clear that the beautiful girls singer faces a long and difficult road ahead if he hopes to rehabilitate both his legal standing and his once promising career. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time, keep the adventure alive by clicking on one of the suggested videos on your screen right now for more amazing content.